Can we talk about roles that members of a species or a community play? Thank you. Roles are really interesting because they're a natural fact, also a logical fact. But here's the thing. Humans have, in the past few hundred years, realized how problematic some of the institutions or roles were. Slavery, certain gender roles. Yeah. So we've realized that people aren't sort of, I don't know whether we realize that, but what the case is that people aren't we're thinking that people aren't getting the choice, the freedom that they're supposed to get in their decision of their role. So women are limited to certain roles, for instance. And minorities can often be limited to certain roles. Men can also be limited to certain roles, but it's not as limiting in the sum of things. It's not as detrimental. It is detrimental, of course, but anyway. And so we've realized that the rules we had for determining roles were too limiting and unfair and kept certain people in certain places and certain people out of those places. And so I guess you would say that we're in sort of a transition period as we find a new relationship to roles. The one that we have in this transition period is not healthy. The latest, sort of the postmodern maybe, am I using that correctly? So something modern is meant to identify what a thing is supposed to be and then do it. And then postmodern deconstructs that, right? Challenges that, right? So the current postmodern rejection of the assignment of roles or rejection of roles basically has everybody wanting to be the protagonist. Not even wanting to be. It's putting pressure on everyone to be the protagonist. Everyone has to have their own ideas. Everyone has to just be the center of their day or something. I don't know. And then also I think we're coming out of a similar period regarding gender roles. So right now I'm talking about roles in society. Unfortunately, okay, hold on. So let me just finish the role in society. So unfortunately, regarding roles in society, we tend to think that only the leaders, the entrepreneurs, the mavericks, the individuals and the leaders are the only ones that have real worth, unfortunately. They don't. Far from it. But that's sort of, we started, I guess maybe it's because we started watching all these movies and stuff, and movies have to be a story. And, books as well. So ever since the printing press, ever since whenever novels started, and maybe not spoken oral traditions, but when you had a story, a written story, and everyone in the world, not everyone, okay, all the literate people in wherever this was published are reading this. And who are they meant to identify with? They're meant to identify with the person whose story counts, the protagonist, and everyone else's support. So then you've got everyone imagining themselves or intended to relate to this rebel or this protagonist, this individualist or whatever. And in putting all that attention and value on the center of the story, and maybe in Eastern stories it's slightly different. Maybe there's more of a, what's it called when you have a ensemble cast. But in a lot of stories today anyway, you've got a central character and everyone else is supporting. And as we have all that attention and value on that central character, well, that means there isn't value and attention on the supporting character. So the brain, the literate brain starts thinking that the protagonist is the archetype to follow, is the example. And a lot of people really, really struggle because they all want to be the life of the party, or they feel like that's the only valuable role to play. Okay, now let's talk about how this transition happened with gender stuff. So before, everybody was happy, right? Not actually, but I have no idea, actually. I have no idea how many women were complaining. The historical record doesn't show. So, you know what? Completely scratch what I just said. Everybody was happy. But, people had their roles. Women made home decisions at home, maybe, unless the man was there. They cooked, they cleaned, they took care of the kids, and the man worked. And then we started thinking, the man working, that's the important thing, that's the good thing. And we started judging women who would ever choose to be to stay at home, to be a housewife. That's a swear word, a housewife. Ugh. And so we acted like the man qualities and activities were the only ones of value. And we said we must free women from this valueless job. And indeed, we did have to free women from the sort of cultural expectation and even just the real legal expectations of fulfilling that role. But in our awkward transition phase, we ended up shaming people who were happy in that role, acting like the only worthwhile women are the women who do what previously we saw mostly men doing. And now I think we're coming out of that transition period. And when I say we, gosh, I mean, there's 30 years between, one community at one end of the spectrum and a community at the end. So when I say we, I have no idea who I'm talking about. And when I say we are currently coming out of the transition, I have no idea when we're talking about, really. But now we realize that the role, still housewife, I mean, for me growing up, it sounds like I'm insulting. It sounds like I'm using the slut or something like that. Like it's terrible how shamed that role was. Whereas what should have been shamed is the lack of space afforded by men and the lack of freedom afforded by men to women. What should be a shame isn't that the brain is simple, so. But what shouldn't be shamed is the act of, being a housewife. What should be shamed is any expectation of a man that is a woman's role. Now, a man can say, hey, look, I've got a great career and I need that other part of the job taken care of. Oh, look, I found someone who doesn't have a career or who's willing to stop. She doesn't have to. I mean, if she wants to be with me, she does, because I'm not going to stop. Well, you know what, woman? You're right. We should consider that. Tell me about your career. Let's talk about it. So that's okay. And then if they decide it's the woman who's going to be at home, then okay. So it's okay for us to naturally play a certain role and then know what roles need to be played around us, and also know what roles we can play around someone else, right? So if the career wouldn't just be if I was this man, it wouldn't just be about me. It would be about, so I'm going to be taking care of the financial stuff. No, it won't be me, but anyway, in this hypothetical thing, I'll be taking care of the financial stuff, and then I need someone to take care of the home stuff. Or we can both, if we both have passions besides kids, we can figure that out. Anyway, so we should never have shamed housewives. We should have shamed men for whom that was the only option. Okay, so this is the point that I wanted to make. I'm reading this, and it says... So the author says, let's get back to my friends. Adrian also brought me a lot, also contributed a lot to me. He was the joke of everyone, the village idiot, the one that we all made fun of without any punishment. And his wonderful energy, his immense tenderness, made him so vulnerable, and gentleness made him so vulnerable and allowed the abuse. And many took advantage. You too? Of course, unfortunately. In the center, between friends, everyone, however messed up he was, had his place. And I was watching a Japanese show on Netflix called Alice in Borderland and a Korean show on Netflix called Black Knight. And in both of them, the young main characters, who are like in their late teens, they are accompanied by 2 in one and 3 in the other sort of supporting friends. And I noticed that like these friends are just like support. And it's not even just that that's the writing. When he has a victory, the way they celebrate it, they have no concern about, they're not comparing themselves there. And we don't see them have any victories that are, in fact, they're called dumb, and useless, are what the 3 friends are called. And the 2 of them are actually goofy. Useless isn't so dumb, but they're called dumb, and useless. And they're okay with those roles. In nature, humans fall into roles. Before the job of assistant existed, before you were a protagonist who just during the day from 9 to 5 went and helped someone else with their mission, but you were, I don't know. Before that, there were assistants before the job existed. These assistants that was their role. They maybe had personality types, interests, abilities, goals, and what made them comfortable, and all those things. So they were assistants. And you know what? I think there are people that are fucking happy being assistants. I think there are people that are fucking happy being plumbers. I think there are people that are fucking happy being dishwashers. I think that we should pay them all more, but not all of them. I mean, dishwashers and stuff. I don't know how much plumbers make. And we need to be okay. We need to not be so shocked by the idea of hierarchy, of status differences, as long as they are not enforced and as long as everyone is comfortable wherever they are. We shouldn't even be looking at it like this. I can't think of it any other way. I can't look at it as like a assistant here, person they're assisting here, and it's just different. And you know, this person's contributing to this person's contributing to this. It's hard for me to, by the way, the main characters in these stories were not about themselves. They were themselves contributing to something, right? And in those two cases, kind of saving the world. So if see, because I've been brainwashed by all these ideas of, oh, like being an assistant is bad, and well, sometimes it horrifies me when I would realize that I have had friends in my life that eclipsed, that stood next to. I've had sidekicks, and that's I've always felt bad about that. Everybody should just be equal. But maybe that's silly. Maybe that's just a silly transition mindset. Because indeed, nobody should be subjugated. Nobody should be told they can't play a different role. Everybody should be encouraged to just discover whatever role makes them happy. For instance, here's one of my roles. I want to think of myself, there's a family in Toulouse, and I charge my batteries there. I fill up water there. And I would love to think of myself as their assistant or something. That I help them when I'm there on the weekends. I watch the kid. I help the kid. I teach the kid English. If they need help moving some stuff around or some, you know, they call them, hey, Eris, come over here. I want to play that role. I want to be at their beck and call for the weekend. And maybe that's why I love playing the game Shithead. Shithead, it's a card game, but the way I would play with my friends is that we would insult whoever the shithead was, the loser of the last round. I loved both roles. I was that 100% the best shithead, because I would take it. I'd take all of it. I mean, there was no resistance from me for the insults, for the subservience. And I was not a bad shit giver either. I was quite good at that. I was quite good at playing that role as well. I like the idea of playing a supporting role in my relationship with my woman. Maybe she's this artist, or I don't know, you know, and I take care of the kids. I mean, I have to do the philosophy stuff. So we're gonna have to share some of that. But then I want her to be playing a supporting role when I'm doing the philosophy. Hey, honey, I gotta finish this chapter. Bring me a coffee, please. And then when she has to finish her whatever, bring me a coffee. Don't fucking say please to me. That's my role. That's my job. And I'm happy with it. There's no less honor in it. It's ridiculous. And I think I'm really comforted when I think of nature, right? Like, there's this lie going around that animals don't have different relationships, and it's to fight this ridiculous alpha male thing. But it's incorrect. I mean, the alpha male thing is all stupid, but I mean, the whole alpha whatever thing is stupid. But there are relationships in a community. Because it's a fucking community. We are pieces of a system. And that's another thing. Whoever the protagonist or leader is in any given situation or in any given context, that protagonist, that leader, must have himself or herself a community mission, right? So it's not like we're all supporting this person just for this person to be happy, which is another terrible corruption that happens. Right? So you get someone into office maybe, or you have a monarch or something, or even just a president, and they're supported, but it's like for themselves, it's not going towards their mission for the community. And so, for instance, for this family, hey, you guys, go to work, because that's helping out the whole community. That means I got a place to park on the weekends. That means I can charge my batteries, no problem. That means you guys invite me in for dinner all the time. Get out there, go work. That helps with the community. I'm going to be teaching your daughter English. That's going to help the community. I'm going to be, you can go out on date nights. Don't have to pay a babysitter. That's going to help the community. So I guess that's the final precision. It's that, or the final précision. It's that, one, absolutely have to have the choice of the role that you play, and you have to feel good in your role. And two, and the reason that some people don't feel good in their role is because the media's been like, oh no, all assistant roles, all supporting roles are stupid. Only leading roles are important. And then the second or third thing is that if you are in that leading role and therefore are not directly in this context contributing to the people who are contributing to you, then that better be because they are contributing to you in order for you to contribute to the community, and they are going to reap the benefits of that. Maybe you're even writing a book. Maybe it's a fiction book, and you have people supporting that effort, and that book's going to go out there and make people happy. Okay? So anyway, so the final point is just that not everyone has to be, you know what, let's rephrase it. All of us are trying to give to the community. That's supposed to be our mission. You either give directly to the community if you're daring, and if you have an idea, and that's what your brain activity is, that's what you're comfortable in. And hopefully most, though, brain activities are going to be comfortable contributing to another person who is contributing to the community. So, but unfortunately, we've got probably most people who are in an assisting role today are actually all contributing towards people who are not contributing to the community, who just make a product and a profit. Yeah. So actually, you should feel like shit if you're an assistant or playing an assisting role in some mega corporation or something. Because now you're not even a leader, and your media tells you you're supposed to be a leader. You're not even that. And also, you're not even contributing into the right current, you're not even into the right river, you're not even depositing your energies into the right flow. So I think that's what's most important. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're giving to a person or whether you're giving a product that you're hoping is going to help the community. Wherever you are along that assembly line, the point is make sure you're on a good assembly line. So I'm on a few different ones. I'm on this philosophy one. I'm at the end. Got no one behind me either, though. Well, I have my mom. I have my mom who pays for gas, who lets me tell her stories when I have no one else to talk to, which is normally. So she contributes a great deal to me. And then I'm working on this philosophy thing, hoping that I'll be able to produce a product that will help with other people. With that family. Oh, and then there's another kid. See him every weekend on the computer, completely free, just because he's a kid. We have a lot in common. High IQ, this kid. I mean, actually the exact same score on a couple things. And his parents weren't sure quite how to take that. I am absolutely thrilled to play the role of contributing to this kid, because I think maybe he'll contribute something to the world, and also it just fucking feels good to contribute to someone. So yeah.